Welcome to a world where particles, vibrations, and light collide, a place where leading industry experts and healers come together to discuss controversial topics that will challenge your beliefs and expand your mind. From quantum physics to metaphysics, no topic is off limits, but this is not your typical podcast.
Is that the solution for the frustration, is to be in your integrity?
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Always be in your integrity. And in your integrity, you understand that it is what it is. Energy is until it's not, right? Energy is flowing into your body until it stops flowing because it becomes so clogged up, and then disease begins, right? So be in your integrity. When somebody's saying something that you totally disagree with, don't sit in your mind and go, what an idiot, right? Just say, wow, they're really convicted on how they feel. That's amazing. Bless them in their thoughts. Don't be judgmental in their thoughts. Bless them for having the power to feel the way they feel, even if it's different from you.
It's a show guaranteed to make you question your assumptions and push you to expand your horizons. For those who are already fascinated or passionate about the work of Patti Conklin, this show will give you an inside look into the mind of one of the industry's most renowned figures in vibrational mediation. With over 28 years of experience and a long list of big-name collaborations, Patti's insights and perspectives will inspire and challenge even the most seasoned practitioners. And if you're the skeptic who doesn't believe in vibrational mediation, this show is for you. Healers, doctors, and scientists are just a few of the professions represented by our fascinating visitors that bring their unique perspective to every episode. Join us on this journey into the world of healing within and adventure inside. Our mission is to inspire, challenge, and enlighten our audience with thought-provoking conversations and fascinating guests from a wide range of fields who can shed new light on important issues facing society today. Join us for each episode if you're ready to explore and learn about the latest developments at the intersection of cutting-edge science, spirituality, and self-improvement. Enter a world where waves, particles, and light all meet. Enter the world of healing within and adventure inside.
Hi everyone, it's Patti Conklin, and here we are on another segment of Healing Within and Adventure Inside. And today I have the pleasure, absolute pleasure, of having Dr. Craig Jordan on with me for today's show. He has just written his autobiography on Tamoxifen Tales. He is a fascinating individual in terms of creating inroads, insights, new techniques in helping women with breast cancer. And we're going to hear all about it because he's foremost and forefront in the battle of breast cancer. So Craig Jordan, thank you so much for being on my show and being here with me today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Patti.
So talk to me about Craig Jordan. Now, Craig Jordan was born in Texas, but was raised across the pond. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, a little complicated. I was nothing to do with that, okay? I was the victim. What I usually do when I start off talks is I'm the least likely person to be standing before you tonight.
Yeah.
It's just basically something you couldn't plan. It happened. Forgive me if I shed a tear from time to time, because it's an unlikely tale that depended on individuals who saw something in me, and my mother who defended me and made sure that I could succeed right from the beginning. So let's talk about the beginning.
Let's talk about that beginning.
I wouldn't be here but for the Second World War. If the Second World War hadn't happened, there would be no Craig Jordan. My mother had met my father when she was the leader of a fire service unit of women whose job it was to guide fire engines to where the bombing was going so that the fire engines could put out the fires. And she was very good at that in her home district. But what Britain had done when they took their unit down to the south coast to be able to protect all of the American troops there and from what the German bombing, I mean, they knew they were coming, so they would just come over and bomb as many people as they could. It was basically, what they found was that what Britain had done to defend itself after they'd been kicked out of Europe is take down all of the road signs. So if the Germans arrived or parachuted in, they would never know where they were. So they couldn't navigate in the country, but neither could my mother. And when they went outside their home patch, if you like. Yeah. So, they said, it sounds like a joke, but this is my beginning. They said, okay, you can't really help us. We want you to go into this large manor house over there. And just by coincidence, my father's combat engineer unit was in the house next door. And this is how my parents met. He went off for D-Day, and he was on what is called D+3, 3 days after the initial landings. And everybody says, oh, you know, that must have been easy, D+3. It was all over by then. Watch Saving Private Ryan. That's D+3. You didn't want to be on the beaches. They couldn't get off the beaches.
Right.
Troops kept piling up one after the other. So my father did D-Day. November the 1st, came back to Cheshire, married my mother on November the 1st in the parish church. He went then back for the largest land battle of the Second World War on the Western Front, which was basically the Battle of the Bulge, where it was the last throw of the dice of the Germans to keep the American forces out of Germany. Yeah. So at the end of the war, mother comes back to America with her husband,
yeah.
Virgil, and that's where I get Virgil in my name. So I was born in 1947. They moved around Texas. He was the manager of Chamber of Commerce's, and he had a vision for me set out. He had already put me down for West Point, I would have been in the Vietnam War. I mean, he'd been, you go. I mean, this is obviously what his gene pool told him.
Right.
But my mother couldn't tolerate the marriage in Texas anymore. So she got divorced, got custody, came back to Britain. She remarried. And my stepfather basically adopted me as his son. Had no contact with my father whatsoever. But now I have contact with my relatives in Texas who are thrilled with the autobiography and thrilled with the pictures that my mother had found their parents, if you like, because when I came to America, she needed people who'd helped her just in case I got into problems. These were people she could trust with me coming back to America when I did in 1979.
But you didn't. You went on to join, I'm not going to get it right, so I'll need you to correct me, the British Armed Forces?
Yes. Unusually. Well, here's been my moral dilemma throughout. Though I wasn't initially good at school, I eventually got my act together in the choice of being a drummer in a pop group, because that was very popular in those days, or go to university. My school teachers allowed me to do something that would never happen today. Teach young children, younger than me, biochemistry, practical classes, no supervision. I mean, it was a different world.
Yeah.
So they trusted the responsibilities of the people. They would check from time to time. You know, the chemistry teachers had come to talk to me, but I was doing experiments and things in the labs on my own. Yeah. So the issue basically becomes, I was given an opportunity to go to university. I got one chance at one university, went along for the interview, and years later I asked, why did you interview me? No one else did. There was no possibility. It was about 8 in 100 got into university in those days. Now it's about 60%. I mean, they built more universities.
Right.
Different concept. So my teachers had written an opening line to get me an interview. If you get an interview, you had a chance, as opposed to being just thrown in the bin. So the interesting thing was, Craig Jordan is an unusual young man, capital letters, a very unusual young man. And my teachers, who became my colleagues eventually, said we had to find out what that was. And you told us.
Yeah.
So there I was at university.
Wow. Wow. So fast forward, what happened after university and moving in? I mean, I mean, you've been unique in the different things that you've done in your life. So fast forward for me to research, you know, getting your different doctorates.
Sure.
You know, what created the Tamoxifen Tales? What steps took place that got you notice, that made you aware of what needed to be done in terms of chemotherapy and so forth for women? Talk to me about that.
Yes, well, it's actually quite straightforward. I was seduced into doing a PhD with one of the staff members, which was basically, how would you put it? 30 years too soon. I mean, nobody did it for the next 30 years. Yeah. So that vision there to be able to find out how compounds that were now called non-steroidal anti-estrogens work to be able to block estrogen action. And I was supposed to crystallize it and say, this is what an estrogen does, this is what an anti-estrogen do. You know, what switches it on and what switches it off. So couldn't be done. So I ended up doing a PhD in basically nothingness, because nobody in the country, in the whole of Britain, would agree to examine my thesis. And everybody says, this is useless. These are failed contraceptives. They're not used for anything of any importance. Why are you doing this? No, I'm busy. Absolutely. Right. And this was the link that happened subsequently between me and ICI Pharmaceuticals, because their factory, if you like, that made this compound ICI 4647-4, which was a failed contraceptive. They believed, I mean, it was great in mice and rats, stop pregnancies, no problem.
Yeah.
Take a shot of this, all over. So this was the morning after pill, everybody thought, did exactly the same opposite in women. It guaranteed the thing you were trying to prevent. Not going to make any money.
Yeah.
Nobody wants the whole of the teenage population pregnant.
Right.
So,
right.
So I'd worked in the summer at Alderley Park, and I'd met all of the players who was going to be the players in the rest of my life. So this is the important thing about opportunity. It depends on your personality, how you address the challenges you have, and learn to communicate effectively with people who can actually help and mentor you for the rest of your life. Yeah. And person that was found to examine my PhD was a man called Arthur Walpole, and he was head of the fertility control program, trying to find morning after pills that didn't work. And he agreed to do my PhD. So he did my PhD. I got a faculty position at the University of Leeds, and they said, but you have to go to America for 2 years, learn new things, and bring it back and enrich our department with everything that you've learned. So they arranged for me to go and work with somebody at a place called the Worcester Foundation for the Experimental Biology in Massachusetts. This was the place, this is called the home of the oral contraceptives, where all the work on contraceptives had been done. So I was going to be the epicenter of this. So I was going to work with another man who actually had come from ICI, and his name was Michael Harper, and he was going to look after me for 2 years while I got my qualifications, then went back to England. I got there. He decided, oh, by the way, I'm leaving, you're on your own. Okay. Learn to be self-resilient when all of these things come up. Wife's pregnant, haven't got a doctor, everything.
Right. Everything.
Literally. Yeah. And so sorted all of these problems out. And it was the best thing that could ever happen that this man left, because I phoned up ICI in England and said, why don't we turn ICI 46/47/4 into an anti-cancer agent for breast cancer? So they provided me with the resources, the contacts. Could I sell it to the clinical population in America to be able to do that? And this was how I got in on the ground floor. They didn't have a program to do that.
Wow.
So I was presenting them with an idea that actually worked. So I became associated with this particular agent. And when they won the Queen's Award for Industry in the mid-1970s, I was the only person outside the company who was invited to the celebration where the Queen had given the Queen's Award for Industry for making what was going to be now a multi-million-dollar drug. It turned out to be $1 billion a year.
Wow. Wow.
And it started all of the work on a group of medicines that I subsequently found was called selective estrogen receptor modulators. And these drugs revolutionized the whole of women's health as we know it, and all of the awards that I have are for international breast cancer research for tamoxifen, or for advances in women's health, the highest award that I basically have presented to me by the Queen. So I have magically gone to be the least likely person standing in front of you today to the most decorated individual for women's health.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to feel wonderful in just all the work you've done. And I know you're still working. You're still
working, writing books, trying to defeat my own battles with cancer. But my plans at this point is to really go out and train a new generation. In my autobiography, based on my life's work, what I have done is distill from that a dozen scientific survival suggestions, a dozen do's and don'ts in your career.
Yeah.
That are absolutes. I've had to experience these absolutes. I mean, for example, if your boss is on your side and wants to promote you and support you, you're a winner. If your boss has psychological problems because you're better than he is, you're in big trouble. So you might as well leave as soon as possible because it can never get better.
Right.
And people don't really realize that. You just got to cut your losses and go. So, I've had brain will travel in half a dozen places all over America, starting my tamoxifen teams and discovering new things.
I remember the first time we talked about your tamoxifen teams. And at first I was like, what's the tamoxifen team? So talk to us for a few minutes about what's a tamoxifen team.
So say when I went to Wisconsin, I would recruit people who would be on my tamoxifen team. And they would be there to do a PhD. They'd be technicians. Mm-hmm. They would be physicians who were working for a few years in the lab. Uh-huh. And they basically
You're good.
Well, it says I'm about to be signed out.
Oh, I think we're okay.
Shutdown will start on Thursday, April the 28th at 10.
You're good. I don't think it'll sign you out as long as we keep going.
Okay. Never seen that before. Woman. So basically, these individuals, I've done something rather unusual, is that I have tried to maintain contacts with all of the people who've been in the tamoxifen teams, because I end up writing letters of recommendation. These people become, full professors in surgery departments, heads of departments, and have influence thereafter. So if I've gone from Wisconsin down to Northwestern University in Chicago, built a team there, then from there to the Fox Chase Cancer Center, built a team there until a new boss decided that you can select the person who will decide what to do with you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. So that didn't work. So then went there from there to Georgetown, and then was going to retire. My mother was in her 90s in England, so I thought that I would just go back and get closer. But somehow God made me go to a cocktail party for the MD Anderson.
Uh-huh.
I was approached by their leadership at that time and said, if we wanted to buy your brain, how much would that cost? It's a zero on the end, and they'd have still paid.
Yeah.
Changed the plan, and I said, God has done this because I have not grown up in a family that was permitted religious freedoms. The church would not marry my mother for the second time in the Church of England. So the High Church of England, the punishment for getting divorced was that you could not now get married again in the church. You could not have that authority, if you like.
Right.
And so this was cut me off from the church, but because of my own disease, I was unexpectedly approached in the hospital by somebody.
I love this story. Yeah, go ahead.
Emptying the bins and said, and I'm, dressed like this, but with a coat on, and I'm eating my breakfast in an open area. And he said, can I lay my hands on you and we can pray together? And I said, you may not lay your hands on me. It's coronavirus, but we will pray together.
Yeah.
So we prayed together. And I went back and contacted one of my friends who has been a religious guide, and he says, you've been hit. When the prayers of others are received by the Lord, he sends a messenger that says they have been received.
Yeah.
So I became a believer at that point. And it was something that all the coincidences in my life, I now realized were actually guided, because the same guide for me in religion was at a dinner party one in Chicago, and he announced to the table, everybody in the world is here for a purpose from the Lord, and Craig Jordan's purpose was tamoxifen. And I was shocked with embarrassment beyond belief. And to me subsequently, you did look a little strange when I said it, because nobody had ever said that.
Right.
I believe that there is a strong thread of truth in that.
Yeah.
And the things that I have basically done to invest myself into training a new generation is part of the mission that I was here for.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I know from the first time we've spoken, it seems as though your faith or your belief has become much stronger, over the last year or so. Just, it's amazing to look at all of the different pivotal points that you've been in your life that has enhanced not only you, but enhanced others. And, sitting down and writing Tamoxifen Tales, I was delighted because I know last time we talked, you were working on it. And I, I'll be honest, I did not expect it to be as entertaining as it is, and so much information, and the photos that you've been able to bring in and so forth just brought such life to it. And so really delighted. I don't know if people can see this or not, but this is Tamoxifen Tales, and it is available on Amazon. Suggestions for scientific survival.
Amazon, I have to tell you, who's sold out.
Yes, I saw that.
Amazon has sold out.
Yeah.
How the publisher is, as we speak, reprinting madly, and they will be available from May the 14th. So
yes.
There may be a portal that says, advanced orders or whatever. Going to the publisher, they have the books first before they send them to Amazon as a competition.
Did you expect that? Did you expect it to sell and be as popular as it is?
I felt that if I could get the word out, it would be popular. Mm-hmm. What I couldn't convince my publisher, because they have never gone to this formula before, they produce books about scientific meetings and reports, textbooks for chemistry departments throughout the world. They don't have to market it. They just have to market it to the professor who says, this is the obligatory textbook, just buy it. Yeah. And so this was an odd experience for them, but I've
a happy one.
And I've educated them against time, and it's interesting because what I'm doing now is, so next month I go to the University of Wisconsin because, as you're well aware, I believe it's important that we, the advantaged, go into the next generation and help them somehow. So giving lectures up in the University of Wisconsin to mentor people, how to mentor people, yes. To help people and what the formula is. And then in the summer, go over in England and do the same thing over there.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm shaking the trees, if you like.
Uh-huh.
And shaking those trees is eventually getting results because it's hard to move the big corporations. I'll give you another stupid example. I wrote a book on tamoxifen with some co-authors in my lab because I wanted them to have advantages of having their names on the cover. And I put my name last and their names first. And the publisher said, never do that again, because they know who Craig Jordan is, but the other people don't resonate. Okay, fine, but this is to give them chances.
Right.
Not
right.
me. And basically, I said, I can't understand why we can sell this book on tamoxifen to thousands and thousands of people at cancer meetings that I go to all over the world. Oh, no, 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 no. This is only to be sold to pharmacologists. And the 1% the population of participants in research is pharmacologists.
Right.
No, they're so structured that this is our book in pharmacology. It can't be sold in another discipline in our company.
Right, right.
My brain's out.
Oh, all right. I think that we did just end. I think Craig's portion did end, but I encourage all of you to go purchase Tamoxifen Tales. You know, there's always this debate as to whether or not chemo is part of the problem or chemo is the savior. And as you know, I always say the body needs Eastern and Western, and every single one of us is different, and every single disease is different in terms of what it is that we do. So I really want you to think about that. And I will definitely have Dr. Jordan back on, and we'll talk more about the researches that did get him into just looking at tamoxifen and the enhancements they're making in today's world in terms of chemotherapy drugs for breast cancer. So thank you so much for joining me. It's Patti Conklin, Healing Within, an Adventure Inside. My guest, Dr. Craig Jordan, and the book is Tamoxifen Tales, Suggestions for Scientific Survival. And yeah, it's a read that all of us who are not in the scientific world can actually read. So take care, and we'll see you next time on Healing Within, an Adventure Inside.
Welcome to a world where particles, vibrations, and light collide, a place where leading industry experts and healers come together to discuss controversial topics that will challenge your beliefs and expand your mind. From quantum physics to metaphysics, no topic is off limits, but this is not your typical podcast.
And that's what's so critical. What you're thinking is still going inside of your body. Just because you don't say the words doesn't mean that it's not so, because you still think, right? And so we've gotten to the point where, well, as long as I keep my mouth shut, I'm okay. No, you're not. You're still storing up your body. You are still putting emotions in your body because of your need to be right. And if we have no right or wrong, then what is? And that's all there is, right? It's either energy or it's not. Whether you're speaking the words, whether you're thinking the words, whether you're thinking it, still matters.
It's a show guaranteed to make you question your assumptions and push you to expand your horizons. For those who are already fascinated or passionate about the work of Patti Conklin, this show will give you an inside look into the mind of one of the industry's most renowned figures in vibrational mediation. With over 28 years of experience and a long list of big-name collaborations, Patti's insights and perspectives will inspire and challenge even the most seasoned practitioners. And if you're the skeptic who doesn't believe in vibrational mediation, this show is for you. Healers, doctors, and scientists are just a few of the professions represented by our fascinating visitors that bring their unique perspective to every episode. Join us on this journey into the world of healing within and adventure inside. Our mission is to inspire, challenge, and enlighten our audience with thought-provoking conversations and fascinating guests from a wide range of fields who can shed new light on important issues facing society today. Join us for each episode if you're ready to explore and learn about the latest developments at the intersection of cutting-edge science, spirituality, and self-improvement. Enter a world where waves, particles, and light all meet. Enter the world of healing within and adventure inside.